Shalom Chavrim, I am Stephen Ben-Nun. You guys are watching Israeli News Live. Let's make sure we have sound for you guys. I'm seeing it on my end here on both sides, but I want to make sure you guys have sounds. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. It shows that we're live, and if everything's good on your end there, just if you can give me a thumbs up just in the chat there so I know that everything's great. I want to thank our moderators for tuning in. Maybe I should have not had the live chat going the entire time, but I know you guys enjoy talking to each other. So at any rate, let's get right into the broadcast, guys. Very serious information that we're going to be talking about here. And listen, I am in the process right now. I'll quickly show you. We are editing the broadcast there for Patreon. That's what's editing right there in the background. You're looking at Ben Gurion from a magazine in 1962 where they say he predicted. He didn't predict nothing. He knew what the New World Order was going to be about. He knew the collapse of the Soviet Union. And of course, he also knew that Jerusalem would become the headquarters of the New World Order. Why? Because he was working with the Pope of Rome. I ain't going to say any more here about that. You need to listen to Patreon if you want to know the truth about these matters there, because at least I feel a little bit more easy in sharing things there. Let me share with you, though, what Erdogan's chief advisor said here. You get bullet there, and I'm going to let you see this. And it is in the Turkish language, but I can tell you what he's saying here right when he says it. Listen to this.
Stratejik ortaklıklar kurarak X'i, Y'yi, Z'yi bu tarafa taşıyacağı yeni bir denklem olacaktır. Bakın, çok açık söylüyorum. Bunun sembolü olsun. Sayın Cumhurbaşkanı bugün çağrıyı yaptı. Cumhurbaşkanımızın çağrısı çok önemli. Bu akşamdan itibaren Google kullanmayın.
All right, now he's talking about Google.
Yandex kullanın.
Then he tells him Yandex.
Rus şirketi mi? Rus şirketi.
He says it's a Russian-owned company.
Kalkıp Türkiye'yi hedef alıyorsa ben de Yandex kullandığımdan
And Yandex will be being used during a New World Order.
Bunu herkesin idrak etmesi lazım.
All right, now our friend here. Let me just share. Let me go back to it. Abdullah Bozkurt. He says, he actually said, he translates his part of this. I'm only sharing with you what I can say, a little bit I can understand that he's saying here. He says, don't use Google, switch to Yandex. Now, I've actually used Yandex quite a bit because it is the Russian search engine. If I'm looking for news I want to find in the Russian language, I prefer Yandex over Google because I can find things that you won't find on Google. Then he says, yes, it is a Russian firm. I proudly use it in a new world order where Turkey will set up a new strategic partnerships in the East against the U.S., says Erdogan's chief advisor Yegit Bullet. There you go. BRICS, excuse me. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I think it's Sudan. These nations have already joined in with this new economic system that they're developing, and I'd shared with you guys. I had an insider that knew Gulen-Fagan, worked under Gulen-Fagan, who supposedly is a mastermind behind the Turkish coup, right? And he shared with me, I can't believe, and maybe he still listens, I can't believe the guy that may have not been maybe possibly part of the elite group that was just sharing intel with me, that this was, the whole Turkish coup was staged, right? Now we're finding out that Yandex, that's going to be the internet giant of the New World Order. All right? Get a load of this here, all right? And here's an article here about Yandex. This is on the Business Insider. Yandex is already Russia's Google. Now it's planning to become Russia's Amazon. It's going to become the New World Order Google of the world. What's going to happen to Google then? Right? Yandex is 12 billion Russian internet giant that operates the country's biggest search engine. The so-called Google of Russia is now expanding into online shopping. Of course, not everybody in Russia shops online, so it's not going to really turn into the Amazon overnight, but they know where it's going because they know it's going to be part of the New World Order. All right, now that's what blew me away. That's giving us an insight right here from this man's own words. The New World Order, the internet, is going to be Yandex. Remember how Russia talked about if in the event The U.S. causes a problem with Google on the internet. They were already setting up their own. They're setting up a new world order. All right, so that's going to tell us a lot, guys. Let's look at some other things that are going on. Remember, was Turkey's coup for real? This was on July 18th, 2017. Back in September of 2016, we were already saying the coup was staged. Too many elements that the coup was staged. And that's what this article goes into as well. Goes into it very well, how that all the things that would kind of give you an idea that it was a false coup was truly so. All right? It was poorly done. Everything that, all the key signs that it was faked was there. They did fake it. Because why? Erdogan is playing a major role. He's playing a major role in what's going on here, right? I'm sorry, guys. Hang on one second here. Just jumping over on the wrong thing here. Erdogan is playing a major role in the New World Order. And the thing is I was told by the insider that we're Gulen Fagan that Erdogan was promised a great deal in the New World Order if he did the dirty work for NATO. All right? This is why Russia and Turkey ended up with a good alliance. This is why Russia is part of that New World Order as well. But you know, sadly enough, there's people that are part of Putin's maybe not his inner circle, but part of his administration that are adamant against the New World Order. But they have no idea that they're working with a New World Order partner. That's why I even wonder if Putin is really the man, the original Putin. You know, I've seen the footage of where Putin originally was put in jail. There was a coup that came against him. And there's even been word that came out, especially in Eastern Europe, that his own wife said that the man that they call Putin today is not the real Putin. Imagine that one. I don't know what to think about that. But let me tell you what's going on in America, though, and what's coming. This is an article in the New York Times. Trump is not a king, they say. All right? Now, I'm going to tell you something. What they're talking about in this article is a possible coup in America. But in my opinion, they both know what's going on. Trump knows that they're going to do a coup. Trump probably is very much aware of it. Not only that, Trump probably will be a part of it because it's to bring down the nation for a new world order. Friends, listen to me. Let me first read a little bit of this article for you so you understand where I'm coming from after I say this. In times of crisis, the leaders of the military intelligence communities try to put aside their differences, often many and sundry, and work together for the good of the country. That's what's happening today with a remarkable group of retired generals, admirals, and spy masters who have signed up for the resistance, telling the President of the United States in so many words that he is not a king. They're planning a coup. Now, I think it's a staged coup just like it was in Turkey. And let me tell you why I say this. You come to these meetings that we're doing across the nation, you'll get a better idea. I spent 7 years in the intelligence community. Almost 7, not quite. It's 6 technically, but almost 7. I know how much corruption goes on, money laundering, weapons transfers. I know things that were going on in Central America and the drug laundering and the alleged things about the Clintons. I didn't work anything directly related to them, but I did work very close with other operations that went as high as President George H.W. Bush in 1990. And I can tell you as well how the president was covering up a major investigation because it would have toppled more than 30 politicians along with a lot of other multimillionaires and stuff that were involved in one of the most major money laundering schemes that the U.S. has seen, second to that of the Clinton scandal. Alleged. I'll make sure I say that. Alleged Clinton scandal. All right? Now, I've been trying to reach out to Greg Palast, in fact, myself. Greg Palast is a very renowned writer. He wrote the book, The Best Democracy Money Can Buy. Greg actually writes in his book about things I was closely connected to. Let me just say it that way. Can't say everything here. Greg was a lot closer than than what people realize. If you know Greg, let him know. I need to talk to him. But I believe they're going to fake a coup in this country. And let me tell you why. They're going to bring about a new world order. They got to crush nationalist spirit. They're going to do it in Russia. They're going to crush it here. But America is going to get hit hard, much harder than anywhere else in the world. Israel is going to get hit as well because the Israeli people believe in a democracy, and they believe that we have a democracy in Israel. They have no idea that we're going to be forced to accept the UN resolution. Now, when I'm going to show you this happening in China, and I got to thank a good friend of mine over in the Netherlands that sent this video to me. It is in English. I'm going to play a part of this for you. He was sharing with me, because I reported in our broadcast yesterday how the Chinese were cracking down on the western part of their country, and they'd put in, I said 1 million, there's actually 2 million of this ethnic group that's there for rehabilitation. Well, you're in a communist nation. Believe me, rehabilitation is not going to be no pleasant walk. It's a prison where they put them at, and that's what they're going to end up doing in America. And I think what you're going to see here is exactly where we are headed. This part of China is already like a new world order. This is what America is going to be. This is also very similar to the way Israel is today. Most people have no idea about all the cameras and the surveillance that goes on in Israel. We say it's for our protection, and in one way, yes, it is. But you have to remember, I lived in Israel in 2004 during the Second Intifada, survivor of a suicide bomber on September 22nd, 2004. All right, near French Hill. But I can tell you for sure, back then, everywhere you went in Israel, you were searched, security, metal detectors, you name it, metal detector hand wands, etc. You didn't go into McDonald's without being searched thoroughly. Malls, etc. And even to this day, they still have some of that, but a lot of the security is much more lax since the Second Intifada passed on by. But they're going to step up everything, and they're going to bring more violence in Israel, and they're going to force a United Nations force in the land. We talk more about that on Patreon and why, and who is really doing it. You'll have to check Patreon out to know those details because I'm a little concerned about naming names in that. Let me play for you here, though. Dumpert. This is a Netherlands website. I want to thank my good friend Renze for sending this to me, and it will give you another side of the story about what's going on in China as the crackdown continues and what we can expect in America, especially if they fake a coup. Watch this here. Surveillance is everywhere. It'll go to English in a minute. There are armored cars and tanks on the streets. There are no limits to what they can do. Life inside China's total surveillance state.
In China's far northwest, feels like traveling in a war zone. So we're here in Urumqi, which is the capital of Xinjiang, in a market downtown. The security here is incredibly tight. There are armored cars on the streets, police stations on every corner, and tons of surveillance cameras. In the past year, police have stepped up security. The region is now under what's probably the most intense government surveillance in the world.
Look at that.
Here, China is experimenting with futuristic spying technologies. For years, China has tried to suppress a separatist movement made up of Uyghurs, a local ethnic group.
Now the Uyghurs, friends, these are the people that are involved also in trying to topple Bashar al-Assad that are in Idlib right now, where there's 2,000 of them. Although I don't agree with what China is doing to the Uyghurs in Western China, because you have to understand, this was a sovereign nation at one time. Let me kind of, real quick, I want to pull up the maps for you for this and share with you what I'm talking about here. Okay. Let's see. We're talking about this area right here. This whole western side here. This was conquered by China, I forget how many years ago there. And the Uyghurs are predominantly a Muslim faith people that live in this part of the region there. But they're also fighting against Bashar al-Assad, which I disagree with them doing that. But China is worried that they're going to take and rise up against the Chinese government. So they have turned this place into like a New World Order city. That's what I call it, a New World Order city. I want you to see just a little bit more of that video there, because to me, this is what's coming to the United States. And by the way, this is exactly not quite to this extent in Israel, because we weren't seeing the face recognition software being used where you came up to a machine and your face was being scanned in Israel, but we do have an enormous amount of cameras in Israel that they track your every movement. That's one reason why the police can get there rapidly when there is a disturbance inside of Israel. But believe me, it will be used as they increase what is going on in the world, both in the United States as well as in Israel. I believe more and more we are seeing fake scenarios that are happening that are being used to justify this implementation of a New World Order system. Listen a little bit more of this, and then we'll conclude this.
Authorities say the separatists are Islamic terrorists. We came to see what life looks like in a place where your every move can be monitored.
That's the way it was in Israel in 2004.
Being in Xinjiang means being checked every day, multiple times a day. When you go to a market, when you drive a car, when you take a train, even your smartphone is checked.
Now, in 2004 in Israel, that would happen. That would also happen. Your phones would be checked. Your cameras would be checked. They would look at your pictures to see what you'd been taking, where you had been, etc. Now keep in mind, President Trump has agreed also to do and has been working with Israel to bring the same type of surveillance and the way that Israel is using their own intelligence there in the country here in America. And I've already seen that firsthand traveling back to the United States. The same techniques that Israel uses before boarding a plane is being used overseas now. Now, in one way, I like that because Israel is very thorough and they've never had a terrorist attack on any of the planes that are leaving the country. All right, so that's a good thing in regards to that. But then again, there's the other side of it. You know, they look at all your pictures. They look at everything personal and private. If you have an external hard drive, well, you can count on one thing. It's not coming directly to you, and you won't be boarding on the plane with it because they're going to take it apart. They're going to search it, and then they'll end up sending it to you, normally in pieces. I know. I've experienced it. I've seen it firsthand. Now, that's... again, this is a lot more advanced than what it was in 2004 in Israel, what's going on in China, but this is the wave of the future. This is a New World Order society.
As reporters, we were stopped dozens of times by police in just a few days. Our interviews were interrupted. We were detained and chased out of town.
You have to delete the photos, they said.
Even for people who approve of the security, like this wine shop owner we met.
That's enough there. You're getting an idea of what's going on, but the thing is we are headed to this type of a system, friends, and I have a feeling that what is going on is all staged. They are rapidly preparing for a new world order, and perhaps we should have done this video on Patreon as well, now that I listen to myself say the things that are going on. You know, another thing that we discussed on Patreon, which I can show you the brief clips that we were talking about, the Times of Israel today said UN chief proposes military forces to protect Palestinians from Israel. Well, I go into what has been known for a long time. You definitely want to see it. And also the EU plans massive transportation project without consulting Israel. That's another thing that maybe some people in Israel were not aware of it, but there are definitely many high-ranking officials in Israel that full well know everything about the plans for this major road construction project that is going on in Israel, or that is being planned as part of a New World Order initiative. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Support the broadcast. You want to know the truth, please. We need your help. Time is running out, and we have got to get to the bottom of things and what's going on. Be checking out our website. We are going to be speaking more and more. We are putting together more meetings. I'm thinking seriously about doing one in Pensacola, Florida, around the 10th of September, en route to the conference on the 14th and 15th up in Lebanon, Tennessee, which is the Nashville area. We are also going to be in Kansas. It's actually Suwanee, Kansas, which is Kansas City, a suburb of Kansas City, Kansas. Be speaking there December the 2nd, and in a full-day conference there. Again, sharing with you guys my time in the intelligence community, as well as friends that I had that are in the Mossad, the Evangelical, the United Nations, all those things that I'm aware of that are going on in the push for a new world order. Some things that will just shake you to the core. My wife will be speaking on 5G technology, the skull-to-brain technology that's being enhanced into this, and just how sinister all that is as well. No doubt transhumanism, not sure exactly all the different subjects that she'll be covering, but I know it will be a blessing to you. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Thank you guys for watching. Support IsraeliNewsLive.org as well. I don't know if I can, can't minimize that there, but our address 8297 Champions Gate Boulevard, say Boulevard or Way, I don't even know, number 442 Champions Gate, Florida, and 32897 I think is the zip code. Blessings to you, and the Patreon video will be ready and up and rolling for you guys to watch Patreon. It'll get loaded here, then we have to put it on our platform, and then we'll transfer it, so it'll be late tonight before it's over there on the patreon.com/Israeli News Live. Thank you guys for watching, and Erev Tov.